Hey there, and welcome to a new Turkey Man Tarkov video. Today I'm going to be rolling through 50 Intel Scav Case openings. I know most people are probably just here to see the loot, so I'm going to jump right into that in a second. If you're interested in totals, averages, costs, profit, and how I got all those numbers, watch through at the end. I'll have timestamps below for all that, and thanks for watching. Let's get into it. Pay for itself. Alrighty, let's talk some numbers. First up, I'll go over some totals and averages. Firstly, we went through 50 total Intel. Obviously, the price of Intel is going to change day to day, but it's been pretty stable for a while now. Throughout making this, I kept some record and averaged my Intel purchases out to about 220k each. This can be offset by finding it in raid. I found one or two of them in raid, and you saw me get a couple just now from the Scav case that paid for themselves in a way. The rest I bought, but for ease, I'm just operating as if I bought all 50 at 220k each for a grand input total of 11 million rubles. Now we'll look at outputs. Adding up all the values from our Intel Scav cases, we get about 10,655,426 rubles in return total, which puts us at a raw ruble loss of about 344,574 rubles, which on the surface seems bad, so bear with me. These two numbers are pretty misleading. There's quite a few variables that I'll talk about in the next couple sections of the video. So if you're new to the Scav case and seeing this, it's not doom and gloom. Trust me when I say that this isn't a one-to-one reflection of what you can expect to make profit-wise, either from Intel or from anything, but especially Intel. Intel is very misleading if you're just looking at raw ruble prices like I am right now, and I'll explain that in a bit. Lastly, for this section, taking into account 50 Intels, my average return per Intel was about 213,108 rubles per case, which is about a 7k loss per case. But again, that's pretty variable because such a wide range of things can come. So, lastly, before we move on to the next section, here's all the information from this one last time, all together so you can see it, and then we'll move on. In this next section, I want to explain how I got the values that make up the totals and averages we just discussed and why they can be misleading. Firstly, all the values were done in rubles. I didn't bother doing any USD or Euro conversions for anything as I didn't think that was too important for this video. Secondly, all the values for any item I received in cases were taken straight from tarkovmarket.com. This is a great resource for the economically interested Tarkov player. They have an average market price available for the last 7 days for any item in the game, amongst other things, available free to use for all people. Additionally, you can upgrade to a pro version for a small monthly yearly price that lets you dig much deeper into long-term market averages and details, amongst other good tools for maximizing profit, both from your raids and from hideout management, but I digress. I looked at every item from every case and added up the value you see circled here on tarkovmarket.com to get the values for each case. And then finally, the reason I say that those totals can be misleading is that the big reason you want to do Intel Scav cases in the first place is your chance to get keys, especially more rare keys. Tarkov market averages show the monetary value for something, which doesn't necessarily mean that you're seeing its monetary potential. For example, the Dormsmart key scav case total is only 80 something K because the key is so rare and valuable, people only barter for it, so it doesn't have a monetary average on the market. So you could potentially get way more money via other items in a barter for the key trade on the Flea, or by using the key yourself in raids. That mark key I've used 7 times as of making this video and probably made 3, 4, 5 mil off of it, and I'd say that's on the low side because I haven't really gotten much of anything. I got an injector case, I got a second injector case but died with it, so I only sold it for about a third of its value. So in conclusion, just because a key's market value is say 50,000 rubles, you may be able to use it 40 times and pull 100k worth of items out of the locked door each raid and make that 50k key generate 4 million rubles worth of value over time. Or if the key is a rare quest key such as the radar key, the operating room key, or Sanitar's office key, you could barter it for other valuable items or cosmetics like the Twitch Rivals armband that everybody wants for some reason. So with all that in mind, I would say Intel is worth doing early wipe at least. It is a gamble, but over 50 Intels I only lost 300 something K, which really isn't a big deal when you factor in I got quest keys out of the way, I got mark keys, and then I got additional quest keys that I could barter for other things if I wanted to, which I did, or I just sold them straight up because I didn't feel like dealing with barters. If you don't care about using the keys yourself, I think Intel will lose value over time. over the course of a wipe, as more and more of the keys enter the market and they become less valuable, less people want to barter for them, and then you have to straight up sell them for money, and that value is going to get lower and lower. Then you might want to switch over to Moonshine or the 95k options, but early wipe, it's a great resource to get your keys, to get quest keys, to get money. Real quick, in the second to last section, I just wanted to briefly mention a few items for transparency's sake. As a lot of you probably know, there's a handful of higher tier items, mainly guns, that are banned from the Flea. So instead of using a market average price, because there is none, I kind of check them against the highest vendor value if you were to just sell them to, say, Jaeger or Mechanic, and that value was used when calculating the total for their respective scav box rewards. Also, as you see these popping up on the screen, you'll notice that the green flare is apparently Flea banned for some reason, so there's that. I just wanted to point this out because while you could just sell them for these values, there's always the argument that you can do the guns up and take them out and then extract even more loot from players and scavs using said guns, because a lot of these guns are fun to use and people are going to use them rather than just vendor them for less than what they're worth technically, because there's a fun value in them as well. So I don't know, I just wanted to include this for transparency. And then finally, I just wanted to highlight some notable cases from the openings, starting with the lowest value case I got, which happened to be the first one, funnily enough, containing a measly bandage and some junk keys here, valued around 50k. Then to contrast that, number 17 was the most valuable scav case we opened, clocking it at 1,139,487 rubles, give or take. The heavy hitters here being the West 216 key and the RBKSM key, valued at about 328k and 723k respectively. And then lastly, I had to make note of some keys here, just the marked ones. Number 5, we got the Dorms marked key, which is big pog, as the kids would say. Lots of cool stuff in there to get to bolster that value up, like I mentioned earlier. And then at 45, we got the RBBK mark key. I'm really not all that familiar with Reserve, especially this key, so I don't know how much the value is behind it, but I guess we'll find out because I'm going to use it. And that about wraps it up. I could go on about more keys and cases, but I think you get the picture. Whether you watched the full video or just the opening and came back to the end, I thank you very much. I appreciate you checking the video out. I have a Moonshine one coming, so I welcome any feedback on this video that I could apply to that one. This is my first time making a looty/guidey video for Tarkov, so any feedback is valuable. If you could leave a like and/or a comment or sub to the channel would be much appreciated. I thank you for that. You can check me out on all socials, links below, most notably Twitch, where I'm live most nights of the week playing Tarkov and sometimes other games. Thanks again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.